Hello, everyone. This is Pal Ponder on Weather coming at you with another video. In today's update, we're going to be talking about a winter storm that's going to be impacting the Ohio Valley to the mid Atlantic and then to the Northeast. So, before I do get started, if you do like weather related content, please subscribe to my channel as I will upload about 5 videos a week to keep you updated. All right, so let's get started. So let's start off with the overall watches and warnings as is this morning for Thursday. And you can see in the purple here, we've got winter weather advisories impacting South Missouri into the central part of Illinois and in part the central and upper part of Indiana through the upper part of Ohio, northern parts of Pennsylvania. And then the storm really gets cranking for Friday into Saturday into the Northeast, where they've got winter storm watches and even winter storm warnings currently right now for upstate New York, into Maine, and then northern parts of Vermont, New Hampshire. But down to the southeast, we're going to be talking about a major severe weather event today. I know yesterday there was like 12 tornadoes in Mississippi, so this is now going to be impacting parts of Georgia, into the Carolinas today with really heavy winds. Places could be getting up to 80-mile-per-hour winds later on the day with their tornado risk. So definitely be looking out for that. And then there's more snow for Denver. Believe it or not, they had a couple inches. I know there were six or 8 inches off Winter Storm Cade, but there's another separate system that's going to drop several feet of snow into the mountains and then dump another 3 to 6 inches into Denver for today and tomorrow. So they've got a lot of snow to deal with there. But yesterday we had a lot of snow in Texas, and these are observed snowfall totals from yesterday. This is pretty incredible to see this. And places out in West Texas got up to a foot of snow. Like places like El Paso snowed 1.6 inches, was the most snow in February in 32 years. Pretty incredible. And even last night, there was a little dusting into the southeast of Dallas, and places like Austin and San Antonio saw some flakes flying. So you don't really see that too often in Texas. And that same system swung up and dumped some snow into Oklahoma and now into Arkansas. But this morning, an incredible event happened. I kind of zoomed in here. This is the Dallas-Fort Worth area. At the airport, it was 29 degrees, but under that snowpack, just about 2.5 hours away to the southwest of Wichita Falls at a place called Seymour, Texas, incredibly, it dropped to 0 degrees under that snowpack. So these skies cleared. It dumped about 8 inches of snow yesterday, but the combination of 8 inches of snow, radiational cooling, light winds, the temperature dropped like a rock. And about 4:30 this morning, it dropped to 0 degrees. And I can't even remember the last time Texas saw 0. So that was an incredible event. And so if you look at the surface map this morning, it shows that those strong thunderstorms developing, they're going to be impacting the Carolinas into Georgia today. So definitely be looking out for a severe weather event. It shows that newer system coming into Denver that's going to be dumping heavier snow again into the mountains, and then eventually 3 to 6 inches in Denver. But with this storm's really cranking up now, it's getting into parts of Missouri, into Illinois, and there is some cold air coming in from the north that is going to be tapping into this same system that's going to be dumping some heavy snow into the Northeast and parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, into Maine. If we kind of zoom in, that same system is going to be dumping some dusting of snow into Tennessee. Parts of Kentucky is going to see some snow, southern Ohio. And as this swings up, it's going to be dumping, kind of 1, 2, 3 inches in spots from this system as it swings up eventually into the mid-Atlantic, into the Northeast. If we take it out another frame, this is tomorrow morning, and it still has some leftover snow into the Ohio Valley, and this will now crank up into parts of West Virginia, and this is eventually going into the Northeast. If we kind of zoom in and take a look at some of the snowfall totals of what this actually leaves behind, and this is in Arkansas, we saw some snow yesterday, but this on top of this same system is going to be seeing more dusting of a snow, more snow into Missouri, kind of another half inch. And as this swings up, it's going to be putting a dusting of snow into parts of Tennessee, and especially as it get into Kentucky, where you start getting some of these heavier amounts now of 1 to 2 inches. But as it kind of swings up and taps into more of that colder air, Indiana is going to see 1 to 2 inches, and it gets a little stronger as we get into the Ohio Valley with 2 to 4 inches in spots there. But as this swings up into Pennsylvania, I know Pittsburgh's probably expecting a couple inches, 1 to 2, possibly 3 from this system. But it's going to be mainly a northeast event. But yes, Pennsylvania, where you really haven't seen terribly too much snow, based on your averages, is going to be picking up a couple inches from this system. As we kind of zoom out, we can look at some of the temperatures, and this is Friday morning. And yeah, it's definitely going to be cold enough to support snow. It's going to be widespread 20s, and you can actually see even where that snowpack is, where it's even going to dip even lower than that into the teens. And you can see that warm surge that's been so prevalent from the southeast ridge trying to sneak up. But this time we've actually got some colder air that's coming down from Canada, because the EPO, the Eastern Pacific Oscillation, does go negative, and it allows a little bit colder air to sink into New England. So today's the 6th, and you can see it actually goes negative this weekend. And that's why it's going to be dumping some heavier snow amounts up there, especially in the northern parts. But it stays negative for several days. So it's going to remain cold throughout the weekend. So if we kind of zoom into the New England, into the Northeast, we can see this developing low pressure now into parts of West Virginia, going into Pennsylvania, dumping some more rain for you guys. But then we're going to have to be dealing with an ice event when you're making that transition from before it turns into all snow for you guys up into upstate New York, into Vermont and New Hampshire. But definitely a lot of snow on the northern side in the ski country. But if we take it out another frame, as this low pressure kind of pulls away, we've got that colder air pushing in from Canada, and it's going to be tapping into that system. So that's where most of the snow is going to fall, on the back side of this system as it taps into that cold air. So it's going to be dumping more snow into Ohio, and that's where Pittsburgh is going to be getting their snow from this system, and it'll sneak into Pennsylvania on the back side of this system. But on the north side, as this kind of wraps up, it's going to be dumping some really heavy snow amounts on the north side of New York. But if we take it out another frame, and this is actually Friday afternoon now, and you can see this developing low pressure now at 972. So it really starts to crank up, dumping some 1, 2, possibly 3-inch snowfall rates at times, dumping some really heavy snow now right along this boundary, this Bear Clinic zone, as this system pulls away Friday afternoon. And it's still 967 as it pulls into off the coast, but on the back side where these isobars really tighten up, dumping some really heavy snow. And this is going to add up to some pretty impressive totals in Maine and northern parts of Vermont and to Connecticut. And we can kind of look at some of the temperatures of what they're going to fall to on top of that snowpack of what it's actually seeing. But based on that negative EPO pulling in some of that colder air, we've got below zero and even below zero teens for low temperatures coming up on Sunday morning into upstate New York and good portion, pretty much the entire state of Vermont and New Hampshire into Maine. And even some of these lower temperatures are going to be down south into Connecticut, going into Boston and into the teens. But unfortunately, that southeast ridge is going to be just too strong for you guys along the coast, like Boston, Philly, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, DC, what you've been dealing with all season. But that EPO is going to be able to tap into that colder air and pull some of that aloft and dump some heavier snow amounts up in the ski country. But Yeah, you can see some of these totals of 2 to 3 inches in Ohio, a couple inches in West Virginia, and then starting to get into PA, where you're going to be getting anywhere from 1 to 3, and even topping out some higher amounts of 4 to 5 inches on the north side. But once you get into upstate New York, and that's where it really starts to get impressive here, especially along the northern tier, where we could be getting some double digits amounts, and even as high as almost 2 feet of snow in spots. So, as this right around that low pressure system on the north side, as it really starts to crank up on Friday afternoon, going into Saturday morning into Saturday afternoon, for those 24 hours there, you could be getting some really heavy snowfall as this system pulls away. But like I said, for the most part, on the central and southern side, 4 to 6, some spots 8 inches in Vermont and New Hampshire, and then on the south side of Maine, a good 6 to 8 inches of snow. So that'll kind of give you an idea. I know this has been basically Winter Storm Cade, going from Denver to Texas, through Arkansas, Missouri, and up to Ohio Valley, into the Mid Atlantic, up into the Northeast. So I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I definitely like this video, and definitely share with your friends on social media that are impacted in the area. And please subscribe to my channel. I know in the next video, I'm going to go over the upcoming pattern over the next 2 weeks, to kind of give you an idea of how the next 2 weeks might play out. So I appreciate you guys watching, and definitely catch me in the next video, where I protect you before and after the storm.